Goeienaand. Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Welcome to tonight's live stream. And do we have an amazing show for you? And it's amazing how this year is flying past, isn't it? We're nearly halfway through 2019. Now, before we begin our interview, and you can see that Vanessa and Alice are here, but they'll be joining us in a moment. Let us look at a couple of the thousands of comments that were made on this channel in the last week. Wim M wrote, "It's a crying shame that a country with mineral resources and very good human resources is going to bits." Well said. Ethical Vegan wrote, "With Gauteng word scramble being get a gun." Remember that video I put up? Isn't that interesting? And he wrote, "Oh my God, Scott, you've blown me away here. I've been decoding all the signs and symbols that they throw in our faces, but missed this one. Dang, that was a good point and word. Well done." This week's news in brief. We held our first Real People live stream last Wednesday with Corrine and learnt about her journey moving from South Africa to Europe. Corrine has been part of the Loving Life family for a year now, and we congratulate her on her successful move to safer waters. Next Wednesday, I'll be talking to Eugene, who heads up a security company in Johannesburg. So expect a fascinating evening learning about the life of a man involved in what has to be one of the most dangerous professions in the world today. And other news, in less than 2 weeks, before we cover the distribution of several tons of food to white squatter camps in the Gauteng area. Currently over 3 tons of maize meal, 2 tons of dry beans and a ton of potatoes make up the main delivery, with mountains of fresh fruit and vegetables also being on the program. These donations are coming from subscribers in the Loving Life community. You'll get to meet the real heroes behind this event. Please make a note of the 6th and 7th of July when we cover the distribution of food. Details to follow in the lead up on the main Loving Life channel. I'm working on trying to get a couple of special guests to join the live stream. More on that later. Now, getting back to Ramaphosa, HIPAA-wise. In South Africa, Ramaphosa delivered his now infamous State of the Nation address, namely a hypothetical dream of a future South Africa, a utopia where everything is perfect. And then he doesn't ever say how he's going to achieve that. What a joke. Now, if you want to become involved in a project on this channel, simply stick your hand up. My email is homestays@gmail.com. Now, okay. I am now going to invite Vanessa and Alice. Vanessa is the president and Alice is the vice president of the Kings Resettlement Program. So, Vanessa, over to you first. Tell me a bit about your life, because we haven't had you on a live stream before.
No, you haven't. Hi, Scott, and hello, Amal. Just a little bit of myself. I am a South African. As you can hear, I can speak Afrikaans, but I came to the US about just over 6 years ago. So I initially came here to visit my family, and they decided they're going to play matchmaker. So eventually I was introduced to my husband, and we got married, and here I am 6 years later, well, actually over 6 years later, and now I'm a proud citizen of the USA. And that's the nutshell version.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. And Alice, you're here as well. Say hello to the group.
Hi, everyone, again.
And tell us a bit about what's happened to you since we last saw you, Alice.
Well, Vanessa came across me, or me, her. I don't really know how that happened. It just happened.
Long time ago.
Yeah. And in January, we just got speaking a lot more and got to do with each other a lot more. And this is where I am now. It sort of just happened.
Fantastic. Now, Dwayne, are you there? No, he's not there. That's
how's
mine.
it, Scott?
No. I just want to check that we are live. Are we live?
Yes.
Okay,
We're most certainly
fantastic.
live.
All right. I don't have that channel on. Okay, well, I'll just get back to our discussion here.
100%.
Okay, getting back to you, Vanessa, how did you get involved in Kings Resettlement Program?
Well, okay, it's not necessarily a very straightforward answer, so I'll try and give you a little bit of a nutshell version of it. But, you know, since I've been here, I realized that, you know, how life is so different and what we've been going through in the South Africa. And I got a lot involved in what's going on. So, you know, you started this road of trying to get your family out and how you're going to do those things. And but eventually, you know, I would run into basically one shut door after the other. I actually started giving up. I mean, I thought, okay, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
And and the Lord decided, no, it's going to happen. He's going to make a way, you know, and he connected with me with some people, and that's how we got involved. And I connected with Peter, and he had the King group of companies. So we started talking to each other, and you know, the King represent the King of Kings for us.
Yeah.
So, and we decided, well, and he says, well, this is your vision, this is your mission. I was prophesied over what I needed to do, and that's how King Resettlement Program was founded, and I became the president. Peter eventually pulled out because of personal issues, and then that's how I continued. And because I've known Alice, and we got involved, and I pulled her basically in with me, and here I am. You know, it's basically we're merely working for the King of Kings. I am obedient to his calling, and that's all we're doing. You know, helping to save the nation. And that's all.
Fantastic. And Alice, tell me a bit about your role in the project or the program.
Scott, you know, from when we last had that discussion, my only goal with the book and with being here was to try and get a declaration of genocide for South Africa.
Yeah.
Vanessa has also got that ideology as well. So it worked out well, because at the same time, while we're trying to create awareness, while we're trying to go that route, we are also trying to help people leave, who want to leave and who can leave.
Right.
And those who can't, to try and campaign for them to be able to leave eventually.
Right.
Through either, you know, help from the government. And once we do have a declaration of genocide, it would be much easier, because then government will get involved. But in the meantime, it's campaigning for sponsors and, you know, just trying everything we can to get things done in South Africa and for South Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just look something up here. Sorry, guys. Okay. Now, tell me, Vanessa, about the people you're currently helping with asylum, and give us a bit of information about the strategies that you use.
Okay, that's a let me put it this way. You know, I can't really discuss everybody's cases and things like that, because I mean, in the end of the day, it is confidential.
Sure.
But what I can tell you is that, you know, we get people on a weekly basis, sometimes even on a daily basis. And 1 week I literally had seven families that contacted me. So now what I can say is, you know, I can only work with what we have at the moment. You know, we've got big visions, we've got all these big plans, but we can only do what we can do with what we have.
Right.
So at this stage, what I do is I help people kind of to help themselves as well. And, you know, so people that's already that came to America legally and they file for asylum, what I'll do is I'll give them a little bit of a do-it-yourself little pack, and it basically looks like this, but inside of it, I've got 4 DVDs, and one is a personal guide. The other 3 DVDs is kind of the support for them for supporting documentation.
Right.
And part of the personal guide is I've got some guidelines and instructions and a tutorial video just to give them a bit of an idea of what to do and how to do it. But we follow the guidelines of the USCIS. I mean, we can't go off there. And I mean, it's very strict. So we make a point of telling people exactly, you know, this is what you need to look at. Make sure you do that. How even some pointers of how to write your statement. Again, going according to the guidelines of the USCIS, but making it more applicable to our situation. So, and maybe giving them advice on those. You know, for example, I mean, asylum is to prove your fear. So by maybe just merely saying you're afraid, I mean, that won't work. You know, you have to describe your fear, how you feel, how it affects your life, and why you fear to return to South Africa. So that is the one part. So one part is this little package, and of course we stay with the people all the time through the whole thing. So we are basically there for them to answer any questions, anything that they're unsure of, and help them through the whole process. Then of course I also compile the complete supporting files for some people. And I mean, I'm not talking about a little file. This is huge, thick files that we compile. It's thousands of paper. So it's a lot of printing. It's kind of very expensive to compile together. And I do it for people, not because I do it as a norm, but I do it for people that really need it. You know, that maybe don't have the finances to spend that type of money, or don't have the facilities where they can compile it with. So we will jump in and help wherever we can, but it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And yes,
sorry, carry on.
No, but part of this program is the more we help people, the more they can start helping each other. It's almost like paying it forward.
Yeah.
And so by the time they get to us, they kind of already know what it's about. So that makes it nice, because it's about supporting each other in the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, standing together and understanding these things. So, and but yeah, there's a lot of advice and a lot of things that people need to know, you know, and there's very specific stuff that evidence that they need to put together, articles, videos, anything that they can do. And there's a lot of important documentation that forms part of this whole process. So it is not something that you just, you know, throw together. No, we try and help people to do it as properly and as completely as they can.
Right.
And that's where we come in as well.
Okay. And what is the most difficult part of the process to actually get sorted? I mean, like, you know, getting a sponsor, or what is the part that really is hard?
Well, at this part is, I think there's quite a few parts that's difficult, you know. Yes, we do lack of sponsors. Sponsors do play an important role, and so does finances too. You know, at the stage, my husband helps a lot. You know, he clubs in all the time. I have to look at him, Liffy, you know, can you help me? So he helps me a lot. And I mean, he's an American, so hats off to him, you know, that he understands and supports us so well. So that is two aspects. The other aspect is basically getting people here legally, you know.
That is really a problem, because if they come on a tourist visa and then try and claim asylum, I mean, that's what's the situation there?
No, I mean, you still entered the country legally. Remember, the secret is that you have to enter the country legally, whether you claim asylum at a port of entry or you have come into the country with a legal visa. You know, so yes, you can claim asylum once you've been here. So people come with different visas, and they come here. Maybe they, you know, whatever, visitor's visa, whatever, they come in and then they start claiming asylum. You have a year to claim asylum after you've entered the country, although I don't suggest waiting that full period, you know, because, I mean, in the end of the day, you are fearing for your life, and the most important thing is come in legally. Again, legal is the key word.
Okay. Because if you don't come in legally, you've got no chance, basically.
No chance.
Okay. All right. Now, Alice, is there something you want to, because you've basically been through the process, is there something you want to talk about when it comes to your journey going through the asylum process in the US?
No, there's nothing really at the moment, Scott. All, you know, I would like to say is for people to follow the law. To obey the law, follow the guidelines, respect the law, and respect the rules. People tend not to do that, and you know, they think they can outsmart the system, and at the same time, they actually just, you know, guaranteeing their deportation back to wherever they come from. Right. You know, there's a reason these laws are in place, and President Trump doesn't ask much. He asks you just to obey the law and follow the rules and respect it. And, you know, that's my biggest thing. People need to do that. They need to understand that there's rules in place and that there's laws in place to benefit them and the citizens of this country. It's to protect people. So just do that. Don't try and outsmart it, like Vanessa always says. Don't be clever, you know.
Yes.
Don't be clever. You know, you're not as smart as the FBI or Homeland Security. Don't think you are. But people do come here with that idea that they can outsmart the system, and you know, it's just the wrong attitude. You're asking a country to adopt you. Yeah. So, you know, you got to follow the rules.
Right.
And that's what I want to say to people thinking of coming in.
Okay.
Or here already.
Yeah. Now, just addressing the people watching, I do apologize, but I actually haven't got my side chat on, so I'm totally in the dark as to what's happening in the side chat. I know that Dwayne is looking after that side, so that's perfect. Later on in this discussion, we're going to be putting a link. We're not going to do it now, but Dwayne's going to put a link in the side chat, which will allow you to come in and join this Hangout live. And when you do, please just keep very quiet. I will see your little icon, and when I'm ready, I will call you out by name and say, okay, go ahead and have a chat to the ladies. So that's a process. And look, if Glenn is in the side chat, I'm not sure if he is, but if he is, congratulations, buddy.
Glenn's in the side chat, Scott.
Oh, fantastic. And Sonata as well. Congratulations, guys. Just for those who don't know, Glenn and Sonata got engaged yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right. Now, let's get on to two issues that I think we need to cover. And that is, you said that getting a sponsor is one of the hard things you need. Now, where can people who are listening to this video go to actually apply to become a sponsor for a South African family?
Well, on the website, I actually have a page for sponsors. So I've got a page for the donations and I've got a page for sponsors. So the sponsors actually register with me. They fill in a form, they sign a waiver, and then kind of how manage with our system these days, and it's a little bit different than when I started out. And I'm actually very proud that, you know, we've changed our website platform that gives us a little bit more leeway or a wider range of things that we can do. So what happens, the sponsors can register on our site. Now, the people that applies for asylum, so they have a profile. Okay, well, let me rather rephrase, apply for asylum. It's not the correct word, because, you know, you can't apply for asylum by me. It's just, you know, we give them the platform, they create the profile on there, and we've got our sponsors that has that access, so they can actually start viewing people's profiles, and we give them access with a special login code,
right,
to look at the people. And you know, there are people that are not ready to go because they do not have visas, they don't have a legal way to enter, but the profiles are on there. So as they go and things change, they can update their own profile. So the sponsors can actually look at them, they can start connecting, they can start talking to each other. And in that way, we kind of link each other, them with each other, because it's hard for us to try and do the matchmaking in the background. And it's a very personal thing, because, you know, people have different ways of thinking. So you need to have somebody that you kind of like and get along with too. You know, there's a connection there, and that's what I do. I just provide a platform for that type of thing.
Right. Okay. Now, with a sponsor, they actually have to put up like a surety of $5,000 or something like that, don't they? Vanessa? I think we've lost Vanessa.
I think we have.
Yeah.
But no, Scott, there's no surety involved. They just need to commit to being responsible for this family for a period of however long it takes for them to go through the process to gain the work permit, etc.
Okay. Now, Vanessa's not here at the moment, so I think you would help to answer the questions. When Vanessa gets back, if she can just sort of let us know, and we'll bring her back into the conversation.
Oh, she's back.
Is she back? Oh, you're back.
Yes.
Oh, welcome back.
Okay. I don't know what happened.
Now, you know, to run a project like this, obviously funding is something you need, and you did touch on this before. You were telling me earlier that there's absolutely no cost for people to use the King Resettlement Program as a support mechanism when they come to the US. There's absolutely no charge at all. But you obviously are interested in getting donations. Now, I think we've lost Vanessa again. Can I pose that question to you? Oh, here she comes. She's coming back. Welcome back, Vanessa.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I am so sorry.
That's okay. You're back. That's cool.
I don't know if I've got a problem with my Wi-Fi or what it is.
Yeah.
So,
did you hear my question?
I just heard that you said that about the funding, and
yes.
that I can charge anybody. So
yes,
I don't know if your question continued. So no, I don't charge anybody. I've never charged anybody for it. As I say, I do this because God called me to do this. So I work for the King of Kings, not for anybody else, but I have to help where I can. Now, there are costs involved. There's a lot of those things that we do consider. And it's like I told you, sometimes I have to look in my husband's eyes for this, you know. And because I'm a Christian nonprofit, he decided, you know what, I'm going to share my tithes with you, you know. So part of it will go to the church and part of it will go to this, because that's what I do. But yeah, donations are very important, because in the end of the day, there's a lot of cost involved anyway. Right. And money makes the world go around. If we don't, the more we have available for us, the more we can do, because at this stage, our need is so much bigger than what we can actually supply. And there's a lot of this program. I mean, we've got this wonderful vision and the mission that we want to do, and we want to be able to put people up in homes, and look after them because of the process. I mean, you can literally not work for 150 days after you have claimed for asylum and they've acknowledged your receipt. So 150 days are like 5 months.
Yeah.
Then you still have to apply for it. And then it can take another 30 days before you can even receive your EAD card. Now, the EAD card stands for Employment Authorization Document, and
Right.
just simply a work permit. Okay.
Mhm.
So this is part of the asylum law. You cannot work. You cannot use the welfare. You are not allowed to do this until you get the permission. Well, actually, you can never use the welfare system. Not even when I went through my immigration, I was never allowed to go on welfare. Never. And
Right.
I'm still not allowed to, probably, but not that I need to, but I'm just saying. That is part of the rules, like Alice has also touched on. Just follow the rules, follow the procedures, do your homework, investigate, know what it's about, and don't be clever, like I will always say.
So how would those hundreds of Black Africans who've just arrived in America, who were shunted off to, I think, Portland in Maine, how would they be surviving?
To be honest, I don't know.
Because
Unless they have people that will sponsor them, I don't know. I don't have the answers for that, because you're not allowed to work. Unless you have enough of your own and you have finances to support yourself, or you have a sponsor that supports you, there's no ways you will be able to survive on your own like this.
Yeah.
You have to have a support system.
Okay. Now, you wanted to say something in Afrikaans to the South Africans in the live stream who are watching. Go ahead.
Whoa. Okay. Basically, what I wanted to say in Afrikaans is that, okay, now I have to switch over to Afrikaans. Just ek weet daar's baie mense, wat dink niemand gee om vir julle nie, of niemand doen niks nie. Maar daar is so baie mense daar buite in verskillende plekke van die wêreld wat regtig omgee, wat julle op ons harte dra en wat elke dag bid. I mean, ons letterlik bid vir julle, ons bid vir deurbrake, ons huil saam met julle, en dit is die mees frustrerendste ding, as ons nie alles kan doen wat ons graag wil doen nie, maar ons moet aangaan, ons moet vertrou, ons moet bid, en ons moet net positief bly, ons moet lewe uitspreek, al die tyd. And just to put this in context in the English version is that, there's so many people that really, really trying their best all over. I mean, everybody's doing their little bit to make this, to help our people. And we're carrying them in our hearts. We have the empathy, we have the sympathy. And it's, some people think, yeah, but nobody cares. We care, we really do. And all I want is, let's start standing together, let's start praying together, let's start speaking life over each other than trying to fight. And I don't know, sometimes I see all this political stuff going on and everybody bites each other's heads off, and it's like, why are you doing this? We all want to go forward and help each other. And that's kind of what I'm trying to say, is just let's work together, believe that we are all there, we're trying to help, and you're not alone. We do know and understand everything that you're going through.
Okay. Now, what is the road ahead for your program?
Again, sure. Find legal routes. One of the things, no matter where it is, you know, we're looking at different opportunities, even other avenues in different countries, you know. So, and part of it is, and that's also why I've opened this tab in my website that's called Opportunities. So now I'm already looking at Canada as a way of go to my website, go look on Canada, see if there's anything that will work for you, you know. Now I'm busy with Georgia, the Republic of Georgia, that's Europe. And there's some opportunities. So I'm starting on the road on that. So I'm still busy developing my website on that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we also want to try and create a soft landing for people. So there are opportunities out there, but a lot of them come with a price tag, which is still fantastic, you know. And it's not necessarily asylum, it's other ways of getting legal entry. And but there are a lot of people that don't have the financial capabilities of actually going to that route. So that's where the soft landings have to come in, and that's where the donations and the sponsors and everything again comes in.
And that's where you come in.
And that's where I come in. I'm trying to create the platform. So, and I'm kind of linking people together, if I can put it that way, because in the end of the day, this whole program, it's not just me, you know, I'm not running this on my own. It's a team. We have to work together as a team, and everybody has to come together and say, you know what, I can do this, or I can do that, and here's an opportunity, that's an opportunity, and I create the platform for that.
Okay, fantastic. And just talking about Canada, I did hear that a few asylum seekers from South Africa who went to Canada were sent home. Did you hear about that?
Okay, if I don't know if that's the same situation. What I did know, and I think I spoke to the people, and you know, I don't want to really get involved, but it's like not get involved is the wrong word. It's kind of not. I don't want to give too much information that I'm not supposed to give. But it sounds like they claim for asylum. I think they came from the US side and claimed asylum, not from the Canada side and claimed asylum. So I think they did it the other way around, because they claimed asylum for Canada, not for the US. So they said, but you're coming from a safe country already. So I don't know. There's something about the thing that I'm not so sure that something went wrong. I think it's the method or the process that was followed was, in their eyes, not the right process.
Right. Okay. And where do you see South Africa going in the future? Alice, I'll just start off with Alice, and then I'll ask you, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Scott, I mean, I take between, you know, the book and now is what, it's 10 months later, 9 months later, and it's escalated tremendously. I mean, the I don't know, you know, I just don't see it ending well. I think it's going to get really, really bad before it can even begin to get better. And the double standards, and I mean, you know, there's just so many things that's just wrong at the moment. There's no law, there's no order, there's selective law and selective order, if you know what I mean. And you know, the people are getting tired of it. Our people are getting tired. They're starting to stand up. Like I said to you last year already, you could see it happening last year, and it's just I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just going to blow up. It's going to come to a point where it's just going to blow up. And, that'll just decide whether it's over or...
Don't you think that's already happening in the townships? I mean, there's basically a xenophobic civil war going on in the townships.
Yes, but I think it's more than that as well, Scott. If you take that truck driver that was bombed in his truck, Bernard, he pulled off to have a sleep and they bombed him. He ran out and they pulled up with him. I mean, he's local, but still they classified as xenophobia. How can you classify it as xenophobia? He's South African.
Yeah.
So I think there's a smokescreen regarding that as well.
Yeah. So you think it's kind of just a media fake news thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of that at play at the moment, too much. I mean, and the wars on social media regarding the mythbusters, I actually don't know what else to call them, the mythbusters and those campaigning or the activists, it's like an online war the whole time.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. Now, Vanessa, I want to ask you the same question. Where do you see South Africa going in the future?
That's a very difficult question. I mean, we all hope for the best. And I think a lot of people hold on to that hope, But, I mean, if we watch and we listen to really what's going on and all the violence and the encouragement of South Africa and how it's actually it's busy self-destructing, and the lawlessness and everything that's happening, in the end, I don't know if there is an immediate hope for things to turn around now. I mean, maybe in the far distant future, I mean, we hopefully will have the privilege to see a future in South Africa again. But for now, that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing now, is because I'm rechanneling that hope that we have for our people for a better future and trying to rechannel it into a better future somewhere else, because I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope now for South Africa itself. So that's how I see it.
Now, I've got a question that came through from an email. And I'll just give you the statement, then I'll ask you the questions, Vanessa.
Okay.
And he wrote, if you think you can travel to the USA on a tourist visa or waiver and then apply for other reasons to stay, you will be equally mistaken. Next week, ICE will begin the process of removing the millions of illegal aliens who illicitly found their way into the United States, Trump wrote, referring to the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They will be removed as fast as they come in. If this is true, then those who will try stand to lose everything and come back to nothing. That is our main fear. We've been turned away and scorned at so often for decades now, and most are too poor already. Most have lost all confidence. Would you please try and get some clarity about this on Sunday's live stream for us? So just posing that hypothetical to you, Vanessa, what do you say to that?
Okay, well, first of all, he's actually kind of asking a few things at the same time.
Yeah.
And so let me try and break it down. Now, first of all, the key word is illegal,
Yeah.
Trump is clamping down on the illegals. Now, we know at this stage, I mean, entering into the USA illegally is a huge problem for the USA. Migrants enter our borders and they're sneaking. But even those that are paroled in can start causing problems. So let me put it this way. So you have those that sneak in illegally, and they will get caught and deported back to their country. Some of them disappear. Then there's those number of people that actually are paroled in. So, but The problem is they don't show up for their biometrics appointment or the asylum interview.
Right.
So immediately they will be deemed illegal. So it's, again, you enter the country legally, you have to still follow the rest of the processes that comes after that. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't pitch up for your biometric appointment, or if you don't go to your asylum interview, that's it. You part of the illegal team, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
Now, you enter a visa, you have a legal stay for whatever reason you have, for a year or for 6 months, whatever the case might be. So you are still a guest in our country, but after a period of time, you will overstay, so you will also fall in that. But if you file for your asylum, you follow the procedures, you will be deemed legal, okay, if I can say that.
Yeah.
But you still need to pitch up for your biometrics interview, you have those things. And of course, part of the asylum application is that you kind of tick for withholding of removal. So when they receive your application, and then you will be deemed legal because of the withholding of removal that applies to you from that moment. Okay. But again, follow the procedures, follow the laws, abide to the laws. And but everything is still a risk. I mean, we all have to go through the immigration process. Everything is a risk. Nothing is like 100% guaranteed. I mean, we can just do the best what we can with what we have. And that's what people must understand. We all take the same risks.
Yeah.
And also with asylum, it is, it's very personal. So you need to kind of prove that you have a credible fear. So, and they will address your personal persecution, the racial violence, the political view, your religion, everything applies to those things. So that's kind of what we need to prove. I believe we have a case, we have absolutely a claim for political asylum. You just need to prove it to them.
Okay. Now, he also asked the question, do we have to wait until we are personally attacked? In other words, a victim of some crime, a violent crime, or for our land and property to be expropriated? What's the trigger point for us to then actually be able to get a valid asylum case, is what he's saying?
Sure. Okay. It is a tricky question, but again, asylum is to provide your fear, to prove you've got a credible fear. Now, the thing is how I see it. I mean, for 25 years, people have kind of become desensitized on that's what's happening around them and with them. That sometimes they think that they almost need a death experience or a near-death experience that they think they will qualify for it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. It doesn't mean that you had to, like you say, personally be attacked. I mean, I think there's so many things that's happened to you that you don't even realize is actually part of your fear, what's caused your fear. Everything is relevant. Things that's happened to your family or your friends or people in your area. There's so many things happening these days that you do have a credible fear claim.
Yeah.
And I can't say that nobody in the last 25 years, that nothing has ever really happened to you, because I think something has happened to you in some or other form. You don't always realize that it is relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where you can give advice to people.
That's where we can. I mean, it's same with me. I mean, when I came here, it took me a while to kind of shake off that fear. You know, you don't realize how you live and how in this extreme fear you are constantly living in till you kind of out it. And then you realize how abnormal it was in the first place that became your new normal.
Right. Okay.
So,
now, he also asks, what if you don't have friends or family to stay at? Does that mean you're in the detention center?
no. Okay, when you claim asylum at a port of entry, yes, you do need a sponsor. That's kind of where we're trying to put the sponsors in place. You know, if you don't have friends and family, you know, don't go and don't have a support system in place for yourself. And that's one of the reasons also why we need sponsors, for that reason. So when people come to the port of entry and they claim asylum, that the sponsors will claim and say, you know, we take the responsibility for this person, and that's when they will be released. So don't go there without having a sponsor in place.
Right. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Dwayne to put the Hangout link into the side chat, and anybody who would like to come in and ask questions, please just take that link. And you need Google Chrome and you need a Gmail or Google account to actually make it work. Just make sure you've got those things happening. Now, I can't see the side chat at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite Dwayne to come and join us. I know he's actually on the Hangout. Dwayne, if you want to put your camera on, and if you can just start posing some of the questions to Alice and Vanessa.
Definitely. Hang on, let me get the camera going.
There you are.
I hope I look okay. How's it, guys? How's it?
Hi, Dwayne.
Okay. How's it, Vanessa? Welcome to Loving Life. There are a few things that I've also picked up that that people have spoken to me about, and the term soft landing, it's started gaining traction. But soft landing particularly pertains to a non-build solution. So where a South African family does claim for asylum, this soft landing is usually directed to a cost-free entry into a country. Is this right?
Well, typically, yes. That's kind of what we want to do. Is the soft landings is giving somebody. I mean, the same with people that go to a sponsor. That is a soft landing for them because the sponsor takes them in and looks after them. Obviously, if we have a whole community of homes and things like that, we can supply a soft landing for people, but we don't at this stage, you know. So sort of our soft landing is where people can come in through the asylum process, because remember one thing, you cannot work for 150 days while after you've submitted your application. So it depends on when you've submitted your application. So yes. It pertains to staying there when somebody else is supporting you.
Okay. Then also, we have started seeing there are started companies that do build South Africans. I know one of them's called, and it's quite new, it's Melk and Yenning. And I mean, if we look at their costing currently right now, straight off of the bat, hang on, I just want to make sure I pull up the right. Okay, so it's 5,000 USD. So it would cost a family 71,000 Rand, 71,666 Rand and 50 cents. For something that they could actually have done by themselves and with a sponsor without incurring any costs. Why are these smaller, if we can call it a little company, starting to pop up left, right, and center? Because the perception that I'm getting is that these smaller companies that are billing South Africans to get out of the country are feeding on fear. They're feeding on the fear of people trying to escape South Africa and so forth, so on. What's your view on that?
okay, Dwayne, everything costs money. I mean, it's same with us. I mean, that's kind of why we have limitations, because I can't offer a free soft landing for everybody, because it's just not financially in my capabilities. So yes, if there are companies that do charge a certain fee for people to stay there, it's because there's cost involved, you know. There's the packages, for example, the one that you are referring for, Malcolm here, it does include housing for the family. It depends on the rental stuff. They help and support these people. It's still, they can do it on their own if they wanted to, you know. It's still not going to cost them any cheaper. But basically what they putting together is a little package in order to help them and say, you know what, we do the runaround for you, we will help you, we will do this, because this is where we are. We know the things around us. It's the same when people come to the US. We need people to help other people. You know, you walk in a strange country for the first time, you don't know where to start. You don't know what to do. So, you know, it's nice to have somebody to help you. So yes, if there's a cost involved, it's because of the cost of what it would have cost you anyway. You do it on yourself, but at least you have a support system that helps you with that. It's not about a money-making racket. It's just there's cost involved. I mean,
definitely. Hey, you know, all projects don't run on hopes and dreams. Let's be honest here. We have first-hand experience of that. I mean, Loving Life incurs extensive costs right across the board. But I looked at that bill over 3 months, and I disagree with the bill that they've put together. It's a little bit larger than what I would have anticipated. But I do hear where you're coming from when it comes to costs. Definitely.
I'm not there. I don't do that. I'm providing the platform. You know? So I'm not there to say, well, you know, you charge a little bit too much for this or a little bit too little for that. You know, in the end of the day, it's a package. You know, there's a lot of other things behind the scenes that's also involved. People don't realize how much it cost me to run this, you know. And I mean, I offer people a service, but I still have costs. I mean, in 1 week, I spent $500 just on cartridges in 1 week, just to help people. I know, 500.
Yes, I hear you. I know.
So
we've also walked down that road a few times. I do have another question that has come in. Okay, question directed to Vanessa. I'm a fan of LMS Tactical, Mike.
Yes.
Are you familiar with them? Okay.
Absolutely.
They then further go on to say, Mike mentions King Resettlement often on his channel.
Yes, that's true.
Did King Resettlement assist him with the South African family?
Okay, sorry, Dwayne. You kind of, I lost you a little bit.
Sorry,
so
Vanessa,
can you?
Yeah.
Sorry, you kind of froze, and I lost what you were saying. So can you repeat yourself again?
Definitely. So did King Resettlement assist with the South African family that he sponsors with their asylum?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Then we're getting quite a okay. We are getting quite a few questions coming in here, and one statement actually. Scott, we've been asked to please contact Graham Joffe as well about sports corruption in South Africa. I know he was hosted by a few of the South African channels, but that's come up quite a bit. Then Vanessa. Canada has a super leftist government that believes South Africa is all Wakanda and safe. What is your perception on that?
I am completely aware of that. So, I mean, if you look at my tab with Canada, there's nothing about asylum. I mean, Canada is, we're using Canada as an alternative route again, like Georgia has a different route. Canada actually has these different entry programs where people can, that has skills and things like that, to kind of go into Canada as workers. Okay, so probably not asylum will work very well there.
100%.
But we don't know in the future what it will be. You know, things change all the time. I mean, every time they bring in some new things. And I know Canada has recently changed something about the way they're going to conduct certain things about the borders. And that's like after this one family was turned away, things already changed after that. So, and but every day, even in the US, things constantly change, and we have to be kind of be proactive and start looking. And even people that make certain decisions to go to different countries, do your research, do your investigations, because at this stage, you know, that there's a lot of variables always, you know, and you need to be on top of it.
Okay, then maybe you can gauge this a bit, but and I definitely hear where this question's coming from. So can one spouse go across first, okay, and then another spouse afterwards, instead of uprooting the entire family in case it fails? There is nothing to come back to.
That is a really tricky question, because you know, if you claim asylum, I mean, remember one thing: asylum is fear. You claiming fear for your country, and yeah, sometimes, you know, you have families that they will do that type of thing. For me personally, if you want to claim your fear, you do it as a family. You know, I don't think it is very wise to say, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave my wife and children or my husband and whatever behind, and, well, tough luck, you know. Most of the people we deal with is families as a unit. We don't want to split them up, and I don't want to suggest splitting them up either. For me, I
agree with you.
Can I just come in here? What Laurel has suggested, Laurel is actually an asylum immigration expert, or I don't know if you use the word immigration with asylum, but she's an expert, and she actually said in a video she put up recently that if you've got 2 kids and you're a family, it's better for example, the wife to go first, and then maybe a few weeks later for the husband to go over separately, both seeking asylum. And her logic behind that was that if you go through as a family, what she is saying is that the wife will certainly be catered for with the kids through a sponsor, but the husband will actually be put into detention. But if they come separately with a child, then that doesn't happen. What's your take on that, Vanessa?
Again, it's a personal choice in the end of the day. How they look at it and how I look at it is 2 different ways. I mean, for me, I wanna rather keep a family together, and I don't want to split them up necessary. And I mean, again, you know, we have full families over here. I mean, people come in and they enter the country legally, and they are here and they claim for asylum. Nobody goes to detention. I mean,
now that's a very interesting and important point.
Yes. Okay. The detention part is actually at the port of entry. Like when the families came through Mexico, they claimed asylum at the port of entry. Okay. And that's when they were detained for a while, because that's when they need to prove their credible fear. They go through the interview, and that's when they will be released or paroled. Okay. Now, again, I mean, everything is different for everybody. I mean, that's my personal view. You know, people that, I mean, I have families here that's full-on families that are here. that entered the country legally with their visas. Some of them been here for a little bit, some of them probably new, and they're still intact. And the process after you've entered the country is not the same than at the port of entry. Okay, I mean that's kind of why I do this, you know, and the files that we put together, because even after you come into the port of entry, you still need to follow the procedures. So we submit our application form. It gets mailed to the asylum officers. There's only, I think, 4 asylum officers, depending on which state you live in. And then it gets processed after that. You don't get detained in that phase of the process.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
And there's different, that's the 2 different options, the port of entry and after you've already been in the country legally.
Right. Dwayne, back to you.
Thanks, Emil. Another question directed at Vanessa. Do you have immigration lawyers that assist King Resettlement with asylum seekers? And how many families have you assisted so far?
We don't really have lawyers on board that assist with the asylum specifically. I do refer people to lawyers if it's on different cases, because there's a lot of people that want to enter, that want to follow different legal procedures, not necessarily asylum. Most of the people that do the asylum, they do it themselves. Okay, now I have had people that has used lawyers on their own accord, that has paid lawyers for their processes, and some of them have actually phoned me and asked me to help out because they need the assistance on supporting documentation and things like that I can supply to them, because a lot of the times these lawyers, and I'm not saying all of the lawyers, so please remember that a lot of the lawyers and even other non-profits out there that deal with asylum cases don't always understand the South African asylum claim. So it's very hard for them to sometimes represent them completely the full way that they would have done with somebody else that they know what it's about. So, and I think that's why that's where we come in to assist the people a little bit better, because most of our people actually do it themselves.
Yes, yes. And I think, as you said earlier, homework is the answer at the end of the day. You need to look at every option, your best option, within reason. And remember, your life is in threat. It's not a case of you're just merrily singing Kumbaya and skipping through the fields. Very big problem. And as such, that threat has.
I think we've got a bad link there.
I'd like to just jump it up, and I'm going to entire board. I'm going to open this up to the entire board.
Okay, I don't know.
How do you intend?
Okay, fantastic.
Yep. Okay. How do you intend to get the declaration of genocide recognized?
Are you hello? Everybody's still there. I don't know if I've got a bad.
How's it?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you're asking me that question?
Okay. Yes. Any of you can answer. So there was a statement earlier where there is a claim and a drive to prove genocide and so forth, so on, and get state support, etc., etc. How do you intend to get the declaration of genocide recognized by the USA? Because, I mean, Statlanders have been over there, AfriForum's been over there, everyone's been over there. And, there are so many different angles you can take this. Is it a genocide? Is it genocide? Is it war? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? And a lot of people just don't know what it is. So calling it genocide is a bit controversial sometimes. But their question is how do you intend to get it recognized?
Well, at this stage, I'm doing what I'm doing on a one-on-one basis. I mean, there's a lot of people that has actually been doing the awareness and are doing those things, and there's people out there that's probably lobbying as we speak, for that recognition. Now, I'm not into the lobbying at the moment. So what I'm doing, I'm focusing on every person as an individual, because asylum is the personal and the individual thing at the moment. So I'm not at this stage where I'm lobbying for the general thing. So we're working on, and are we working on the basis of the genocide? Yes, we are. I mean, even everything of my supporting documentation indicates that. So at this stage, because of all the asylum claims, and there's a certain format that is supporting, with the supporting documents that are followed, I think that thing is, because of that, that's already in a way of declaring that, and it's already a way for the immigration officers to see that and recognize that. But officially claiming for the declaration of genocide, that is, you physically have to lobby for that, and I'm not doing lobbying at the moment. I'm dealing on a personal ground level with people.
Yes. Another question directed at you, Vanessa. Would it be acceptable or not?
Officers to see that and recognize that. But officially claiming for the
Susan, can you
of genocide,
turn your volume down, please?
That is, you physically have to lobby for that, and
Okay, so Susan, sorry, I just muted your mic there. Once we call you, you just need to click unmute so we don't get feedback on this side. Vanessa, just another cue quickly. Would it be acceptable or not acceptable if someone purchased a house for you in the US? So let's say a third party, you contacted a third party, they purchased a house for you. Let's actually say that they are your sponsors. Transfer funds over, get the house purchased, and would it be in your name? And then you're able to then apply for asylum and move into said house instead of living with sponsors.
Well, I don't think you are not allowed to purchase a house. I think anybody can purchase a house in any country. So it doesn't mean that this is the process you have to follow. So yes, you can be on your own. You can be self-sufficient for that matter. So nobody says that because as long as you do not work, there's no rule that you can have your own money and that you can't live in your own house that you purchased with money that you earned somewhere else. As long as you don't work in the US and you don't have permission to work. So you can work only if you have permission to work. Okay, so that is the key point there. So, but whether you have your own money and you've got millions of money and you want to invest in it and you live on that and you kind of self-supportive, there's no rule against that. I mean, absolutely you can do that. But you can also have a sponsor that says, I take responsibility of you. So, and
yes,
I'm looking down because you're a little icon on here. And I know the video. So
that's perfect.
I don't know if that answered your question. If it hasn't,
it does.
Okay.
My next question would then come and
okay. While
and it would support such is
Dwayne, can you say?
Am I able to work online?
Dwayne, can you just say that question again because you cut out halfway through it?
Sorry, Scott. Yeah.
Can you re-say that question?
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, definitely. Are you able to work overseas on the internet? So let's say work remotely for a company, able to work for that company remotely, because there are a lot of people that have started working remotely.
I don't see any harm in that, because I mean, you're not working for a US company as such. I mean, it's not a US company based that pays you. So again, you have to, it's all, there's very fine lines, you know, and you have to make sure about all those little things, you know. Again, make sure you don't work for a US company. If it's online somewhere abroad and you can live here and you work somewhere else online for a different company, they pay you, I don't see anything. You're not stealing, you're not taking anybody else's job in the US.
Yes, yes, definitely. I just want to give a shout out quickly before we carry on with questions. Mike is on from LMS Tactical. How's it, Mike? I've dropped the Google Hangouts. Come, have a chat with us. Inviting you. Click on that link. Another question. 100%.
Now, Alice, you've got your book there, haven't you? Do you just want to quickly show the viewers your book and tell them how they can actually order it?
Can you see it, Scott?
Yes, I can, yeah.
It's actually available at any online merchant. In South Africa at Exclusive Books Online, Loot, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, just about all over. It's just not in South African bookstores.
Okay.
But it's still available. It's still online as an ebook or a paperback. Yeah, so, you know,
okay,
to collect
just for those watching, it's a fantastic book, and it's about basically South Africans waiting for their turn to die. You know, that's why it's my turn.
Which is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And you know, Scott, so many people have said to me that it feels like it's their voice in this book.
Yeah. Because
that's exactly what they go through, and that's exactly what goes on in their minds. They just didn't want to say it out loud because it feels so dramatic.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the way they felt. And it's as though it's their stories, you know, their fear, how they feel, and, you know, the fears they wake up with, the fears they go to bed with.
Yeah. Okay. Back to you, Dwayne.
100%. Let's move on. Next question. Let me just grab it quickly. Please ask Vanessa. 2 of my children are older than 20 and studying. Can we apply as a family for asylum? So what the angle that Lorraine's basically taken here, Vanessa, is if you know medical aid, there are certain cutoffs.
Okay, sorry, you cut out.
Or do these children still form part of the family course cell? Sorry, can you hear me?
Half of the question I missed.
Vanessa?
Yeah, we lost half the question there, Dwayne.
Okay. 2 of my children are older than 20 and studying. Can we apply as a family for asylum?
Okay, let me put it this way. If your children are under 21, yes, you can still fall as a family, as an asylum. But when the children are over 21, they kind of have to claim for themselves. So they will be regarded as adults. No matter, and that's just the system, you know.
Yes, yes. I think that we've already answered this question, but the hairy farmer, are there any successful asylum claims as yet?
Well, I mean, remember one thing, asylum takes a lot of years, okay, and most of the asylum process. So your final claim is when the judge kind of say, it's done, you are approved. In the meantime, there's no statistics that can say yes or no unless there is that final decision. I mean, I know people personally that's been on asylum here for over 6-7 years, still haven't had a final decision made. But what's happening these days, the process are being sped up. So things are happening much quicker now. So people are going to their appointments, their interviews much faster. And so far, I've spoken to a few people that has gone for their interviews, and it's very intense. It's very intimidating. And they're still waiting for the results to know if they have been approved or not, because they didn't decline them at all. So, they're still waiting for it. I've have somebody else that's been waiting for it for a few months already. He's qualified for his EID card. He's continuing for and living his life. We can't say it's going to stop there, but it's just the process. Everything is taking its time, but everybody is kind of nervous. We're all nervous, but nobody can say, yes, it's done, it's perfect, it's over, and it's approved, because we don't know. Nobody knows. Yes. Not even people that is in the process.
Because of the duration. It's very interesting.
Yes. And yeah, it's a nerve-wracking process. I mean, believe me, it's nerve-wracking. Yeah.
Oh, well, if you think about it, at the end of the day, you're busy building your family, you're getting the whole thing going, and there is a possibility, and that possibility is there. And I think that's very intimidating. Definitely, I agree with you.
It is. But you know what? There's people have a valid claim, and that's what I believe. I mean, I know some of these people that have claimed, they really have a valid claim. They have a valid, legitimate fear, So, and this, they're so desperate to be safe that they do take that risk. And all we can do is supply the support all the time. But in the end, the risk is yours, and we all feel the same. I mean, even when I went through my immigration process, it's very intimidating. I mean, I'm constantly taking that risk all the time. The moment I was sworn in as a US citizen, that was the moment that I could breathe again.
Yes.
So, and that's just what it is,
I think it's we know hundreds of people that have true, credible fear, and I mean real fear. It's nothing short of traumatizing. I have another question, but before we get into that question, Scott, I think that Mike is going to be dialing in. And guys, if you're watching live, please click the like button. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and tap that bell icon to be informed of any upcoming and or live streams that we have in the future. Stay up to date. Link to the main channel, link to our secondary channel, and obviously our live channels. Don't forget, click that like button. It takes a lot to get these things going, and we appreciate the likes. Vanessa, let's jump into another question.
Dwayne, just before you do, just regarding the live streams, everybody who's listening, don't forget we have a huge live stream on the 6th and 7th of July. It'll probably run for several hours each day. We're doing a similar food drop like we did in January this year, which was very, very successful. And Dwayne played a major role in that with Patrick. So just mark that in your diary. We're hoping to get a couple of very special guests to be part of that, not actually with the distribution of food, but actually on the live stream. But that's a work in progress. Sorry, back to you, Dwayne.
Yes, no, definitely it is. Guys, if you want to get involved in that weekend, please contact either Scott via his email address untitled.homestays@gmail.com. You can contact myself. You guys know, broer@boerenbroer.co.za, or alternatively, you can start using our social email, which is socialmedia@loveandlifelive.com.
You guys know.
Vanessa, I think we're going to hold off on the questioning for now. I just want to jump over to Mike. Mike, welcome.
Mike, can you turn the audio down?
Questioning for now. I just want to jump over to Mike. Mike, welcome.
That's better. Welcome to Loving Life, Mike.
Yeah, let me work out this technical difficulty here. I'm trying to figure out how to get that audio off.
100%, Mike. So keep your audio or mute the audio on YouTube, but then keep the audio on Hangouts.
Here, I'll use your audio here.
Perfect. Vanessa, just another question. Does King Resettlement only have asylum cases or regular immigration applications for permanent residents to the USA as well?
No, I'm just dealing with asylum cases at this stage. There are a few people that have asked me about other processes and the same process that I have followed through, and I can advise them on that, or I can give them a little bit of answer their questions, but overall, that's all I'm dealing with at this stage.
Yes, yes.
Now, Mike, do you want to ask Vanessa a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering why she didn't mention my channel.
Oh, she did. She did.
I did ask you, I know you, and I said, yes, I do.
Yeah, so I was out working the South African family like slaves today, and we remembered that this was on, and we ran in here, and the first thing I said was, if she doesn't mention my channel name, boy, there's going to be trouble.
She gave you a plug.
No, we've been watching. In fact, family's watching, and we've been watching. And actually, I don't want to interrupt. I'll sit here, and if somebody's got a question for me in terms of what it's like to be the sponsor from the sponsor's perspective, I'm more than happy to answer that and to go down that path, because we're all kind of learning this stuff together, and yeah, there's a lot. You could write books about just the experience we've been through.
Sure. Okay, back to you, Dwayne.
How's it, Mark? Welcome to Love and Life. No, it's you know what, we follow you. I know Mel and myself. Mel just loves your channel to pieces. I'm sure you're familiar with it. I think you did mod it. How's it, Mel? Shout out to Mel as well. So yeah, no, the questions, guys, if you have questions for Mike as a sponsor of a South African family, please send them through. And Mike, South Africans, we work hard.
Yeah, you certainly do.
Ask Scott.
You don't only work hard, but the cooking is out of this world. I've gained 20 pounds since they.
Oh yes. The cooking is simply outstanding. It's I've married and I'm English, as everyone knows, but the other side of my family, they're not English. And trust me, the cooking is just out of this world.
Fantastic.
Mike, I've got a question here. Where is Mason right now?
I closed the door, so he's in the next room. If I open the door, he'll be trying to get in my lap. I guess I should let him in, huh? Let me pop him in. Hey, can you turn that one down a little?
Now, Dwayne, you got another question for Vanessa?
I actually have a question coming in from Mike, but this is from one of our social channels. Let me take a look here. Mike, they want to know, how does the sponsorship work? Do they live in your home? I don't think this is someone that's they've given quite a essay here. Hang on. Okay, so what is the agreement with sponsor for the South African family and yourself, and how do those families work in conjunction?
Yeah, so it's a little bit complicated in that there's two groups of people that I would be addressing to answer this question. One would be the sponsors themselves, and the other would be the South African families that were coming, because the responsibilities are a little bit different. Yes, they do. The short answer is they do live in the house. Now, some sponsors might have multiple houses that they may have a summer cabin or something, or a vacation home that they're not using. And so for those Americans that are considering sponsorship, those are ideal. If you have 3 bedrooms and you're only using 2, in our case, we have a large family anyway, without these guys. But the fact of the matter is, everybody has to be realistic and understand that, this is not a 5-star hotel. So I was, as a sponsor, was in close contact with this family while they were in Africa. And so they knew what they were getting into. I walked around with my video camera and I showed them literally, this is where you will be living. And my wife and I, who were already on a very tight budget, and it doesn't do me any good to pretend that it's super easy, because it's not. It's, for the sponsors, you have to be realistic. In our case, we took 4 people. So when you have 4 people, there is an expected and a natural increase in terms of cash outflow. It's going to cost more. But the other side of the coin is when you have a family that is motivated, like the family I have. These people are not sitting around watching Dr. Phil all day and eating food. These people are working very hard, almost to the point where I feel guilty sometimes. And we're lucky because we have a very good relationship and we can joke around and everything. But, the wife cleans up the house and she cooks these fantastic meals, which I've already touched on. Today we were out. I've got some pressure washing that needs to be done. And I've got some prior injuries and things that kind of prevent me from doing a lot of hard work. And these guys, the father and son are, the son is stronger than I ever was, and he's only 15, and this is just a Hulk. And these guys are pressure washing the house, and these are things that need to be done. And so there's never been a time where I have felt like these were people that were taking advantage. In fact, unless something really, really strange happens, like a murder, I think we'll be family members for life and friends for life, because I can tell you that in the short time they've been here, there's a true love. The kids call me uncle, and it feels like they've been in our family forever. And for you Americans considering sponsorship, I just want to say that I have no regrets whatsoever. My wife and I, we would do this over again. And I think it's probably going to end up being one of the best things that we've ever done in our lives on many levels, in terms of just lighting a candle, helping another fellow human, helping another generation, helping a country where people are desperate. Not everybody, but the ones that want to leave. If I could just say something to potential sponsors, all of my ancestors struggled to get to where they are. They got on rickety ships, and some didn't make it and some did, and there were wars and famines and Indians, and be part of it, be part of the history, the future of mankind, and be able to look back and say, hey, that's the payment I get. The payment I get is, somebody helped my ancestors, and now I'm helping these. And you know what? Someday these guys will be sitting around talking about that old red-headed guy with the dog many generations ago that helped our great-great-grandparents get here. There's a lot very satisfying.
Well, I just have to say it's fantastic that you have such a wonderful relationship with that family. And, I just need to endorse that South Africans are such hard workers. And they're compatible culturally. They're compatible culturally with us.
Yeah, Scott, I got to tell you, I did not know, like many people, Scott, I didn't know much about South Africa.
Yeah.
you know, a lot of the ignorance I can blame on the fact that it's almost like there's a media shield around it, and I stumbled into the South Africa thing accidentally. But the more now I have met through this process, both electronically and in person, many South Africans, countless. My emails are full, and 99.9% are very good, you know, Christian, God-fearing, hard-working, proud people. And you know, they've become my favorite people. I almost wish that I had South African blood in me. I'm jealous that I'm not part of it. Even though they're having a really rough time in history, the South Africans are some of the greatest people I've ever met. And I've traveled this world on many different capacities in the military and law enforcement. I've been around the world. I've met lots of cultures, love some, hate others. But the South Africans, you guys got a new fan. You guys are outrageous. And the women are not too hard on the eyes. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
That's real eye candy, I tell you. Now back to you, Dwayne.
I couldn't agree more. Now, Afrikaans skills. So, I married a wonderful Afrikaans girl. I just want to get back to something that Mark said, and that 15-year-old boy, yes. South Africans, we build them big.
Yeah.
We build them big. Vanessa, I do want to direct the question to yourself, and I actually think Mark can actually give us some first-hand experience on this as well. But let me direct it to Vanessa first.
Okay.
I had a conversation earlier today where, and I've heard this numerous times, where South Africans exit South Africa as asylees, as immigrants, whichever method it is. And they actually go through somewhat of a mental detox of crime and intimidation and a different level of standards that has become a normality in their lives. Could you elaborate on that for me?
Sorry, the last part I didn't hear. You broke up. Do I?
If you could just elaborate on that for me, please.
Okay, you mean when people come into the US, let me just rephrase this or ask you back so I can understand what you're trying to say is, do you think are you talking about the integration into the new country that they find strange because it's kind of a shock for the system?
Yes.
Way, you know,
yes.
To come here and suddenly it's like this new environment of freedom. It's a shock of freedom. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah.
And even more safety. Safety is the big key here.
You know, I mean, just for me in my own experience, and I mean, this is kind of part of where we also need the mentors to play a role, because there's a lot of things that we need to adjust. You know, for me, when I came here, I mean, my family was been out of the country for 20 years. So now here I come in and I'm like this nervous little wreck, you know, and you don't realize that you've lived in fear for so long, and suddenly you live in a country where you don't have that. So, you know, I will check the windows and I will lock the doors and I will like make sure the car is locked, and I will freak out because there's no walls or there's no security guard. My husband doesn't dare sneak up on me because, I mean, I will give him a lefty or a righty, you know. So there's all type of things, you know. He will steer clear and make a noise and say, I'm coming. Because you don't know, you react in such severe ways, and you do all of those. And it takes time to almost shake that off from you, to get used to the fact that you go into a grocery store and you can check out your own stuff. You know, you've got the self-checkout counters where you take your groceries, you swipe it, you pay it, and you walk out. You know, you do it yourself. I mean, wow, it's little things like that where people are not used to that, and suddenly they live in this. It's a shock of freedom. It's a shock of a new culture, and you have to adjust to it. It is awesome, I have to say, but it is an adjustment, you know, and people need to get used to it and say, you know, it's fine. You'll get better. You'll get over it. But it's still an amazing process. But in the meantime, you know, even going through asylum, still have that, you still kind of locked into that fear all the time, because your life is on the line and your life is in somebody else's hands, and they determine whether you can stay or have to go. So yeah, you have those two ones. You've got the shock of the freedom, but you still live in fear at the same time, just a different kind of fear.
Yes.
I don't know if it makes sense at all.
It does. Mark, you must have first-hand experience of this.
Yeah,
your take on it?
It's a great subject, and probably one worthy of deeper study down the road, because what I notice is it's as exciting as it is sad. You have almost a group of, I'm not a psychologist, but you have a group of people that are almost suffering severe PTSD based on just the living conditions, that their normality is not our normality. And so while it is fun for me, and it, you know, we take these guys and every store that we go into is like they just landed from another planet, and their eyes, and they run around, and you know, we never saw, you know, so many different products. If we ate something different every day for the rest of our lives, we'd never hit everything in the stores. The other thing, we drove by things Americans take for granted, and it's really helped me to not take things for granted, because we all need to be reminded sometimes of how fortunate we have it, no matter where we are. There's always somebody in a worse situation. And here, just 2 days ago, we were driving, and the family saw a drive-through bank, which is very common here. You know, you put your money in the tube and they suck it up and they spit it back out. And these guys couldn't stop talking about it. You know, I take this family, we'll walk around the neighborhood at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. No problem. There's no bars. There's no fences around the house. You know, you see a lady jogging. It's 11 o'clock at night. You know, and they always are like, my God, you know, if that was in South Africa, that'd be a crime scene. And that's not to say that America's perfect. Every society has its dangerous areas, but they're living, you know, for example, I could go on, so let me just wrap it up with this. They now sleep with their bedroom doors closed. Now, this is something that they had never done in their whole lives. They had to have audio awareness of the house because of this constant danger, you know, and now they can close their doors. They can have privacy. The first time there was a noise in the house, these guys flew up, and I thought we were being attacked by ISIS or something. We flew up, and it was just somebody dropped something. You know, I mean, so it's very sad, but it's fun to see them calm down and start to acclimate.
Well, I have to tell you that when I was in America last year, I actually got lost in Walmart. I got lost. I didn't know how to get out of the place. It was that big.
That's a good place to be lost.
The range of products. I mean, we've got very limited amount of US products, and listen, I'm addicted to Dr. Pepper in a very bad way. Costs a fortune. It really costs a fortune in South Africa. I think that could be one reason I would go to America is Dr. Pepper. Nonetheless.
Now, Dwayne, any more questions?
Yes. So we actually have a statement here by Mr. Sweeters that PTSD stays with you, and unfortunately in New Zealand they regard us as being aggressive or over assertive because of the way we have been conditioned. Now, I've actually heard of this before, where I know of a farmer. He cannot come home late at night because his wife will 10-to-1 shoot him. Now, just understand what I'm saying. His wife loves him. It's not the case where she's just a bad wife. She loves him, but the threat is of such a degree that any sound or any noise that she hears, and this ties into what Mark said, you know, the rifle's out, the guns are out, the 9mm out. Come, any sound that I hear around my house. So he starts singing at the gate already before he even gets to the front door. He's singing and going crazy in the yard just so the family knows, hey, that's Dad. That's not someone trying to break in. Don't shoot. which ties into that statement. Guys, I don't see any of the additional questions coming through. Scott, anything from your side?
No, I just want to say it's been an absolute delight to have Vanessa and Alice join us tonight with the King Resettlement Program, and lovely to have a surprise guest, and by the way of Mike.
Yes.
Mike, are there any questions you'd like to put to Vanessa or Alice?
No, I just maybe a closing statement to Scott. I want to thank you for letting me sneak in and barge my way into your awesome channel. I watch all your videos. I've been a subscriber of yours for a long time. Cool. And I know that our languages are a little bit different, but I'm a little more flamboyant. But I'm not. But
I love that your language has been reserved tonight.
That's
But for Vanessa, I'm not an official representative of the King Resettlement Program, but I endorse it from my bottom of my heart. And you will notice that whenever I do endorse the King Resettlement Program, I do clean up my language. And my channel, look, I'm a retired LA police officer and a former paratrooper and a hardcore conservative, and that's the way I express myself. But I know when to be myself and when to clean it up. And that is an organization that's worthy of cleaning it up for. Vanessa's a very intelligent person. Her heart's in the right place. And listen, the last thing I want to say is if there's anybody out there that's even slightly considering being a sponsor or donating, King Resettlement Program is the place to do it. It's legit. It's a beautiful mission. And I'm just so happy that I connected with them the way I did.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Vanessa, is there something you'd like to say?
Sure. Yes. So many questions I've answered already, but I'm just honored to be in this position that I feel I can play a role in assisting the South Africans in whether it's small or big, it's there because, we carry them on our heart and we want to see the success. We want to see lives to be saved. And if I can play a small role or a big role in that, I'm honored to do that. And I pray for great things to happen for us. I pray for big breakthroughs. And I pray that the road ahead for us here and for everybody, that we will start getting favor. And we just need to speak that out, believe in that. And part of it, we need to start getting together and work together. We all have the same mission. We all play a small part. And if we just put all our efforts together, we will reach so much more than one person will ever be able to do it. I can't do it alone. I have never been able I've never claimed to be able to do it alone. This is a program that we have to encompass everybody that wants to be part of it. We all do it because of our love. There's no money. I don't get salary. Alice don't get a salary. We do this because of the love for our people, because we want to see them saved. And everybody that has that same feeling, that same mission, let's get together, let's work together. And I want to tell the South Africans, you're not alone. We are there. We do fight for you. We believe in what you are capable and what you can offer to any country. And we want to see you have a future.
Okay, now there's one word that comes to mind immediately.
Yes.
And that is hope.
Hope, absolutely.
I think what you are offering to South Africans who are seeking safer shores is hope. And that's a wonderful, wonderful outcome. Now, Alice, what would you like to add? Anything you'd like to talk about? Or
Scott, people need to remember that it's not going to be overnight. The world doesn't really know much about black on white genocide. It's never really been it's never really been a case of black on white.
Yeah.
So for them to wrap their heads around that is not going to be overnight. A lot more is going to have to happen, and a lot more casualties, if you want to put it that way, there's going to be a lot more of that before the world recognizes it. But we don't give up. And, you know, each day that we fight on and carry on and warrior on, people join us, and, you know, they come across us. And Mike, you know, he's one of those that have just totally gone out there and started campaigning. There's a lot of those people adding up to the point where people won't be able to ignore it anymore, and the world can't turn away from it. So, you know, they have to just hang in there. They have to be loud. They have to make their voices heard. South Africans need to stand together. There's a lot of division, but, you know, a lot of outside division as well. So we do what we can to help people leave, but for those who can't leave or who don't leave and won't leave, you know, it doesn't end with the people that do leave. So they just need to hang in there and just never stop having hope, because others will never give up on them.
Yeah. Well, look, I just want to hand over to Dwayne for a little while. Dwayne, would you like to add to the conversation?
Definitely. We've actually got two questions that have come in specifically. Valerie, how well is the book you wrote doing in the States?
I don't think it's doing too badly. I don't have the figures. I don't normally get the figures. That would be with a publisher. But there's a lot of people reaching out to me, and there's a lot of feedback, and you know, a lot more awareness than what there was in October before the book came out. So it's definitely reaching people. I've got a lot of traffic on my website regarding the book as well. And, you know, I've started just doing a blog or two now and again to, you know, add on to the book, you can say. But it's definitely reaching, I don't know if it's the right people, but it's reaching people. So,
that's brilliant.
Yes.
I think that with all content producers, Mike, Scott, all of us, it's the connections made as well. And they form such a big part of the journey. Let's be honest, they really do. And I think one of the very big questions that have come up tonight and are currently being asked, it's actually been asked by Philippe, one of Loving Life's TLM tripod members. How's it, Philippe? How's that cat?
That darn cat, that feral cat they call Hitler.
That feral cat. Valerie, why are presidential level televised threats to whites, such as kill the Boer farmer, one settler, one bullet, boil the whites like frogs, not seen as a precursor to genocide worthy of a special visa? I think we should actually direct that to both Valerie and Vanessa. But Valerie, if you'd like to weigh in on that.
Oh, you mean Vanessa?
Valerie.
No, it's Alice.
Alice.
Oh, Alice, sorry, man. I've just got messages coming through.
Alice, over to you.
Okay, now can you please just repeat that question, because I was looking for Valerie.
Okay.
And I didn't...
Sorry. I just read what's given. Just hang on 10 seconds. Why are presidential level televised threats to whites, such as kill the Boer, kill the farmer, one settler, one bullet, and boil the whites like frogs, not seen as a precursor to genocide worthy of a special visa?
It should be. I don't know why it's not, and I don't know why it's not getting the attention it should. I just don't understand it, because that's why I say the world just isn't ready for the black and white. It's always, been seen as the other way around. If you look at asylum cases in any country, Africans are more likely to get asylum than anybody else because of the apartheid era and because of slavery and who knows what all. But now it's reversed and people just aren't recognizing it. It's not being recognized, and so it should make way for special visas. It should make way for other countries to open their doors. We're not that many. The minority is not that many. There's not that many left. I looked at the city of Chicago the other day. The population is 12 point something million in the city of Chicago alone. The minority South Africans make up a quarter of that.
Wow.
So why isn't any attention being given to this problem? It's out there for everybody to see. Nobody can deny it. Every single day we have whites must be killed, slaughter their babies, use them as fertilizer, boil them. Steve Hofmeyr has been receiving the same threats. Do to him what you did to Eugene Terreblanche. So they're actually acknowledging what they did to Eugene Terreblanche. There's people that's saying, it's right what's happening with the farm murders, carry on murdering the whites. So they're acknowledging that they're doing it. It's not a question of it's normal crime or it's crimes of opportunity. They are actually out there saying, yes, we are doing this, and yes, we will continue to do this. And yes, why isn't everybody else doing this? But nobody's paying attention to that. Well, so that's my question. Why?
Yeah,
why? What are they hiding? What are they scared of? Why won't they admit that this is happening? Is it because Ramaphosa has been saying it's only on the internet that it takes place? Nobody can be so stupid. So why is the world not acknowledging that?
Well, I think I have the answer for that, Alice, and the answer is because of fake news. And the mainstream media, like CNN, BBC, and all these different television channels, have their own narrative and their own agenda. And it doesn't suit their narrative to report on black on white violence. But if you have a white on black situation, it becomes global news. I mean, it very rarely ever happens, but it does happen. But you can have the most horrific torture happening on a farm, and it doesn't cut it. They won't cover it. It's quite incredible, the fake news.
But Scott, look at what's happened with some of the countries that have taken South Africans in. And here you've heard it from Mark. South Africans work. We do. We're hard workers. We get the job done. We really work. I mean, some of the expertise that are coming out of this country are just remarkable. Look at the retirement funds. Isn't it one of the biggest in the world for this South African generation that's currently being persecuted? And that's now being tapped into. Iraq, who? All you need to do is open up your borders, create a visa, and say, come minority. I mean, with that minority comes trillions. It's just a case of opening up that border and giving a visa. Well, let's not say opening up the border. Let's just say providing a visa for the minorities that are being persecuted. I mean, they're not leaving the country with $2 in their back pocket. And we're talking the whole minority here, hey? The bigger picture. I mean, they would be walking out of the country.
Now,
trillions.
Vanessa, would you like to just respond to the question that Dwayne raised just now?
Well, I mean, I'm with you guys. I mean, why don't they do it? And I think that is our ultimate goal, is to actually eventually hope that will that we will receive special visas, you know. And I believe that we are doing what we are doing because we're kind of in that process to get to that. We are in the preparation processes of going that way. So I feel that we are going to, I believe we will get it eventually. Maybe it's not there yet, but I think we will eventually. So I think we must just continue what we're doing, do it right, do it legal, and we will get there eventually. This is all the preparation that we are doing. So, like I said before, I don't think God called us to do what we're doing. All of us, we are not doing what we're doing for no reason. There has to be a reason, and this is all a preparation for that to come. And I believe that we will probably receive that visa. And I believe, and I want to believe that, because I don't see why not.
Okay. Now, Dwayne, any more questions that you've got there?
Just one other question for Vanessa. Could a South African already on an H-2A visa in the USA claim asylum for his family and bring them over?
If you're on an H-2A visa, yes, you can claim for asylum, and but the family has to be here already. Okay, so they have to be have already been legally entered the country. So yes, you can, but asylum is something that you claim when you are here, not when you're not in the country yet.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Thank you so very much.
You are on.
Okay. Ben, I hope that answered your question. Scott, I'm going to hand over to you. There are no more questions.
All right. Well, thank you so much for moderating for me, Dwayne. And once again, I want to extend a huge high five to Glenn and his lovely South African partner. You just got engaged. Congratulations, guys. And just for the record, they actually met through one of these live streams. So, you know, we do feel like a matchmaking service, and we're quite happy with that because they're both great people. I just want to say thank you so much to Vanessa. We will certainly support you where we can. And Alice, who I know like an old friend now. I mean, Alice has been following our channel, and she's been on a couple of live streams with me in the past, and she's a wonderful lady.
Thank you for having us, Scott.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And Mike, nice to have you on the show.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for all the good work that you're doing.
Hey, thank you. Good to see you guys. Good work.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
As always, you're a soldier. You do amazing work. Thank you for you know, your participation tonight. And lastly, to all those who are watching and those who've been in the side chat. And unfortunately, as I say, I don't have the side chat on at all. But thank you so much for being part of the live stream tonight. And remember, every Sunday night we have a live stream. So please be part of that. And that starts at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time. Oh, and finally, this Wednesday, we're going to be doing our second Real People show. And it's going to be a cracker because the person I'm talking to, Eugene, is the CEO of a security company in Johannesburg. So we're going to hear some very interesting stuff about what's going on behind the scenes. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to shut down the channel now and wish you all a good evening and a safe week next week.
Definitely. Cheers, Mark. Alice, Vanessa, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Be safe.
Cheers.